But again, keep your stop losses in place just in case. Let's check our volume on this one. Yeah, it's a low volume pump, so you got to be careful. On the 5 minute, we're in a downturn, but the money flow is still going in. We're not below. So yeah, it's a good possibility, but if you're in it, depending on where you got in, your stop loss should be around 165.77. If it goes below that, it may head down further, maybe even back to the 161 area. What else we got here? Rune on the 30 minute is looking good. Let's go to 1 hour here. Yeah, there's not just one. It didn't pick up these orders, so there's a possibility to bounce, but it bounced right off the 618. So hopefully it takes it up to, I would say 450. If you're in at $4, that's 50 cent. How much percent move is that one? Right here now. We're looking at a possible 13% move right there. Looking at the 1 hour chart. It is at the top of the RSI here and in the red there, so it may take a bounce down before you get in. Drop down to your 5 minute. We're at the bottom. No green dot published yet. 15 minute. It's right at the top, so you might want to wait on this one, but keep an eye on it. Let's look at Ethereum. I haven't watched Ethereum much, so go to the daily reset. So I drew a fib over here that went from here to here. Might want to revamp it now. Let's get rid of this. Take it from the low here to the high here. As you can see, it bounced right just below the 618. Let's take it down. It's at the bottom on the daily, so it could be, if it bounces up, we could be a week of good trading on it. 30 minute, it's, yes, going up. 5, we're heading back down for a bit. I would wait. It's still in the green, so if it publishes a green dot here, I'd be thinking about it, or starts to reverse. It could go, I don't think it could go as low as 31.61 and then bounce would be my thoughts. Yeah, so yeah, the 382 lines up with that. I would might be a good entry point. You may want to put it in early and just hope it hits. If you do, you're probably going to get a good entry for a bounce. And then if it bounces off it, I would say you're going to go to 32, 36, grab that. There's no real reason for it to come back down. Yeah, 34 to 35, maybe. Yeah, 33 might be a bounce back down. Again, make sure you're putting all your stop losses in all this stuff because you don't want to lose all your money. It can drop just as fast as it goes up, so you want to do it. And if we look at our banter bubbles, this is the 5 minute. Most stuff's on its way down. On the hourly, most stuff is turned green. You can see which ones are moving the most. Doesn't mean you should enter them. You don't want to buy in the green. You might want to look at tokens that are just in the red and ready to bounce. On the day though, most of it has been down. And that's why the stop losses need to go in, because in one day we have 6% drop, 3%, 9%. You don't want to be leveraging money and then putting in a buy. But those are coins you might want to look for a good bounce. The higher the number, hopefully the bigger the bounce. I don't even know what that is, but that's a huge drop for one day, so I would avoid that one. And then you can go on like it's the hour. They're most of them are up. 5 minutes are all heading down and trying to go back up, hopefully. 5 minutes kind of a hard one to go because it changes so quick. Those are things you should watch for. See what Bitcoin a daily. So Bitcoin on the daily chart is right at the bottom. So I don't think we're going to be going too much lower on it. If at all, I think it actually probably bottomed out at 62.8 and might head back up. It's going to hit some resistance right about 70K, which is the standard area. As you can see, it's bounced off 70K more than once. If it breaks through that, I think the next will be like this 72. And if it pops its way through that, we're going to be like all times high. And I think we're going to be at like 80K for it. So yeah, that's what I saw. I will tell you that the last FOMC meeting, it wasn't till the Friday afternoon that stuff really started to go. So you got to be careful with everything. Make sure you put your stop losses in. Remember this chart whenever you're trading. This is a good range because to make 5%, you only have to make 5% back. But as you start moving past 10, you know, it goes up to 11%, 20%, 43. At 50%, you got to double your earnings to make back the 50% you lost. If you hit the 80, you got to make 400% more. So it makes it hard to keep making money. So always put your stop loss. Sometimes I go as high as 10% if based on my observations, and I'll show you how I do it. I usually do like a 15-minute reset the chart. So if you were in this, I would probably put my stop loss right about 64.5, right at the low point of the last bit. Because if it goes below that, you can always buy in lower, and remember that. But again, watch your RSIs. They're usually an indication of where the coin is going. As you can see at the bottom, it starts climbing up, 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 up. And then when it starts turning down, it goes down. So try not to buy when it's at the top. On the 5 or 15 is what I usually set a rule at. So it's at the bottom here, up here. So I would wait a little longer. And if you have Lux Algo, you can see that the RSI is a little bit different. Sometimes it's exact, but based on money flow, see right here, it was right at the bottom, but not here. And that was all based on money flow that it makes calculations. So sometimes the Lux Algo oscillator is a better system to use. And you can see if it's right at the bottom and it publishes a green dot on this 5-minute, it would have been a good entry there. Let's see when it published. And then the other part of the oscillator, this is for you, Paul Rooney. We're going to get rid of this. It published the entry right here, but if you'd have been on your screen at the time, you would have picked up the green dot here. And if you'd have done based on this entry point, let's go part way up the candle because you missed it a bit. And there's our first take profit. It's 5% move on a 15-minute chart. When it publishes these little X's, that's take profit. They're different colors on when it's doing a reversal. That's when you're going to enter short. If you see this, and you can see where they take profits. And right here, there was a reversal. So you would have got a 4% move on a 5X. That's a 20% gain. On a 10X, it's obviously 40, but it requires patience, especially when you're doing it on the 5 or 15. But using the oscillator, you might have more confidence to stay in. That's what I found. I used to do it just on the 5-minute. And basically, I would wait for the lines to cross, and then I would sell here. But if I'd have bought on this one, I would have sold there and then never bought back into here. But using the Lux Algo, I would have saw this green buy signal, and I would have stayed in this much longer till I saw a red or this red sell area, which would have given me again another 5% move just trading on the 5-minute. And that was 60 bars. So basically 5 hours, you would have been in a trade that normally I probably would have jumped out of a little earlier because I probably would have panicked here. And that's the psychological part, which was actually, if you take a look, you can see the bounce here. But if I go back to the larger chart, that's this box of resistance that I marked off. Basically, it's the bottom of this candle to the bottom of that wick. And that's the area where you're expecting a bounce. And as you can see, it's stuck right in it. That candle there closed on it. This one dropped down into it and then went back up. So drawing out your trading action, I call it, is very important. Not just using one indicator, but you want to use multiple to pick your entry points. It's very important you do, like, even the fibs. You can see the 382 was a bounce area for 2 areas right there. And then this resistance area worked out perfect here. So if I was doing an entry and I saw the candle coming down, I would have put an entry in and then put my stop loss below that block. Or depending on how much you're entering, if it's too much risk, you wait for it to get in the middle of this box and then put your entry. But a lot of people will put a buy just above the box, buy halfway through, buy at the bottom, and then a stop loss here, that way mitigating. And then hopefully you get a position, because sometimes it might bounce early, so you just want to have your position on low leverage. And then as it broke back out, you could up your leverage and get more profit out of it, and maybe even re-enter more of your money. But always pay attention to your stop losses, bounce areas, next resistance area. As you can see here, if we were drawing the next resistance and we're on the 4-hour, we're talking this area would be the next area of concern. So it may come up into this box, bounce and come back down. Just always use your indicators, trust your analysis. If don't just enter on a FOMO. If you see a big green, balloon, not the time to enter. All these other, you want to enter on red and sell it when it gets way into the greens. That's your buy low, sell high. Otherwise, you're buying halfway up, or you might be buying at the top. You don't know if you haven't done any of your analysis and you're just entering because you see it going up or you see other people trading it. That's one mistake I made is I see somebody making like a 20% gain. And then I go in and I try to join it too. That's not gonna work. You have to look to see if you think it's still gonna climb. Solana is one of the favorite ones I trade, but as you can see, let's go back to the 5-minute reset. We're hitting a little consolidation area. The 5 minutes at the bottom, 15 at the top, 30, almost at the top. If you're not in a SOL trade, again, get your Lux algo. It will make you money. I made mine back on my first trade. And I wouldn't re-enter this till I seen another green dot. And because I'm already in it, if I see another green dot near the bottom, I will move my stop loss up and up my leverage. Just some little things to consider. But trust your analysis. Don't just FOMO in and buy stuff. FOMO meaning, for those who haven't done the Quick Learn Crypto course, fear of missing out. And yeah, it happens a lot. It's really easy. It's too easy to do. So, take your Quick Learn Crypto, subscribe to Blue Collar Crypto, follow everything on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. Yeah, and then join our Degen group once you've completed the Quick Learn Crypto course. We'll give you some alpha on things just everybody does, different schools you can take other than Quick Learn. As you get more and further into it and ready to learn more, that's when you do these things. So yeah, everyone, enjoy your evening. Again, because after the last FOMC, the market was choppy and downturned for 3 days. Be careful if you're in a trade and enter your stop loss.